Welcome to this episode of the Smart Leaders Sell podcast. I'm Jessica Lorimer, sales coach and leadership expert, and I am really excited to dig down into today's episode. Well, hey there, poddies. Another year is almost done. Can you believe it? I can't. I'm getting very excited about Christmas. I'm doing some different things for Christmas this year. I'm actually heading up to London tomorrow, where I'll be spending Christmas with some good friends of mine. And then apparently we're going bouldering on Boxing Day. I am not sure how that's going to work out, if I'm honest. I'm planning on being rather tiddly on Christmas Day itself, and so bouldering with a hangover feels like it's quite an ambitious activity. I may just sit and watch from the sidelines, but for those of you who are listening as you are running around doing some Christmas shopping, which is also probably what I will be doing today, I hadn't realized how quickly Christmas was arriving this year. I want you to know how grateful I am for you listening to another year of the Smart Leaders Sell podcast. It really has been awesome. And to continue making it even more awesome in the year to come for 2020, we're going to make some small changes to the podcast. We're going to do some bits a little bit differently just to make sure that we're keeping it fresh, keeping it new for you guys. So Monday episodes will not change. You'll still hear from me every single Monday, giving you sales tips, techniques, tricks that you can use in your business to build and grow it, and obviously make sure it's moving forward. But some of the interviews are going to change. We're going to do some mixing up of interviews, and we are not going to be holding interviews every single week of 2020. And you might be thinking, well, Jess, why is this? Why is this changing? You know, maybe you already like it the way it is. And in all honesty, it's actually because of what we're watching you guys do. The Monday episodes are infinitely more popular, which I'm very grateful for. It's good to know that you're loving the dulcet tones of Jessica Lorimer on a Monday morning. But in all seriousness, it's also because we've got some really, really cool people that we want to share with you next year. And we're realizing that not everybody can implement everything from every single interview every single week. So rather than kill you with consumption, we're going to be reducing and doing a couple of interviews a month with different people so that you can learn from them. You can hear from their breakthrough moments. You can hear from the challenges that they're currently facing as they're building their best businesses, and obviously still here to give you tips and techniques that you should be using with regards to sales every single week. So this week, what are we talking about? Well, given that it's Christmas shopping week and one of the biggest weeks of the year for retailers, I was thinking about something that comes up very importantly, I feel this kind of year, or this time of year, but also drives me a little insane. So if you are running around the shops, if you're doing last minute Christmas shopping right now, you will be hearing a combination of soundtracks, and all of it will be Christmas themed. And after about 2 hours of Christmas shopping, you have to listen to, you know, White Christmas again. You just want to stab yourself in the eye a little bit. It doesn't matter how festive you are. You just really, you know, there's a fork right there and you're just kind of like, oh my goodness, giving it a go. And I actually think Christmas carols are incredibly smart. I also have a love-loathe relationship with them. So the whole year I avoid Christmas carols. I'm not a massively festive person. Perhaps I should have thrown that out there first. Maybe that's why. I'm not a massively festive person. I get very excited about giving other people gifts, but I don't really get excited about the whole Christmas thing. I think that's because I don't have children. Christmas for everybody else is a magical time, and I'm kind of like, I love the food. I get very excited about going to midnight mass on Christmas Eve and, you know, getting a little orange and singing all of the carols there. But I do not get excited about trekking around a shopping centre and having to listen to the same songs on repeat. So if you work in a shopping centre or retail at this time of the year, you are a hero. I'm just going to throw that out there. You're a complete hero, because it is an assault of the senses quite a lot of the time. But Christmas carols, despite being a little little challenging, maybe a little bit irritating sometimes. Otherwise, completely magical and lovely and fun, and everyone knows the words. So it's not like when you go to a weird concert and people are just kind of singing their own lyrics. Yes, that's definitely me. Christmas carols are a really, really smart business idea. And I want to walk you through a couple of things today. One, why they're a smart business idea. Two, the kind of key components of Christmas carols, what makes them so successful. And three, how you can use those elements to build upon your sales strategy next year. It's one of the things that I've actually been trialing out over the last couple of years. How can I make my business more like a Christmas carol? Maybe I am more festive than I thought, who knows? But let's dig in and see exactly what is going on with these Christmas carols, why they're making such a ton of money, and how you can replicate that model. Now, if obviously you've already been thinking that you do want to change your business up next year and you are interested in selling to corporates, we did just launch the C-Suite. The link is in the show notes. Make sure you go and check it out. If you're thinking about adding a corporate revenue stream to your business next year, and you definitely should be, if you haven't yet, go back and listen to the episode where I talk about why you should be selling to corporates next year, and make sure that you do check out C-Suite. But Christmas carols. So when you think of a Christmas carol, generally everyone thinks of the same sort of top 10, right? You've got Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You. You've got Slade. You've got The Post, Fairy Tale of New York, which, by the way, is my personal favorite. I know that there's a lot of controversy around it at the moment and some of the lyrics and things, but for me, that nothing sums up Christmas quite like Shane McGowan's gravelly voice and Kirsty MacColl being like a kind of angry fishwife singing along. That for me represents Christmas. It's just one of those things. So everybody tends to think of similar songs around this time of year. And it's actually really interesting because it's such a competitive market. Now, I remember probably about 10, 12 years ago, whenever the X Factor first started, and what would happen is everyone would get very upset because the X Factor would be on the majority of Christmas, and whoever Simon Cowell picked as the winner, because let's face it was pretty much Simon Cowell's job, they would produce a Christmas single. And they were always gunning for that Christmas single to be number one. And it very rarely was. There have only been a couple of X Factor winners. I'm not sure, and I'm not going to cast any aspersions on what this means for their marketing, singing, or any other ability. But there weren't that many that actually hit the top spot, because you had things like Band-Aid, charity singles, different choirs started getting in on this. And then obviously you had these 10 to 12 songs that everybody kind of thinks about Christmas and starts playing, Wham, all that kind of thing. It's a hugely saturated market. And when we're setting up online businesses, a lot of the time we're told, not to compete in hugely saturated markets. A lot of time people are quite scared about competing in saturated markets because they think, oh, well, more competition, like no money, not sure how I'm going to stand out, don't know what to do. But here's the thing, Christmas carol market, just going to throw it out there. Every year, there are certain winners in the Christmas song sphere. Mariah Carey is one of them. And actually, she makes an estimated $500,000 a year in the UK alone each Christmas. $500,000 a year from playing All I Want for Christmas Is You. And actually, she gets paid even if they only play like the first 11 seconds of the song, which is amazing. What a businesswoman, right? That is incredible. So every time you've got like the first 11 seconds rocking on from Mariah Carey, she's getting paid a royalty for that, for 11 seconds, for something she has already created. It is the only form of truly passive income I can think of at this point of time. So far, she's made over $60 million with that one song. So every year when it comes on the radio, when it's driving you crazy, when you're trying to sing along and you can't hit the high notes, yes, we've all been there. She's made over $60 million from one song. Now, obviously, if you look at Mariah Carey's, total career value, it's somewhere around 520 million. So it's vast. And she had, songs like Hero and other things. I'm not a diehard Mariah Carey fan. I'm just going to throw this out there, but I did do some research before I picked up the mic today. And so if you look at that, in comparison, it's not even a fifth of her net worth. But Mariah Carey does other things. She's interviewed and she gets paid for those. She's participated in different things. She gets paid for that. She's got investment portfolios and she's paid for that too. So $60 million from one revenue stream, from one song, is a pretty considerable and significant proportion of income. And we'd all like that, right? How much easier would your life be if you could have a large proportion of your income from just one thing? It'd be so much easier, so much simpler. We also have, and this one tops the list, which I think is hugely impressive, Slade, who have their song Merry Christmas. They make £1 million, not dollars, pounds a year in royalties from their Merry Christmas song. That was a lot of saying the word Christmas. $1 million a year. So if they do nothing else all year, which I'm not entirely sure, I'll be honest, how much Slade are actually doing the rest of the year, making £1 million, £1 million a year just from that one song. And my personal favorite, Fairy Tale of New York, Shane MacGowan, Kirsty MacColl, I bow down to you because I do think it's an incredible song, regardless of what's going on with controversy. £400,000 a year in royalties from that one song. Again, that's a pretty phenomenal business by anyone's standard, right? If your business was making $400,000 a year, would you be happy? Yeah, of course you would. But woohoo! Especially, here's the kicker, especially if the majority of it is profit, because they're not really paying anything out there for these songs. They might be paying, to keep up licenses or whatever, but not paying a ton of money out there to promote these anymore. In fact, they're getting paid to be visible around these things. Isn't that awesome? So why is it so smart? Well, A, it's an incredible business model. It's simple. It's streamlined. They are making a huge amount of revenue in a very short period of time. They're getting great royalty fees. They're not having to worry the rest of the year if they don't want to. I mean, I don't know how much celebrities require to live on and things, but even $400,000 a year, like, you're doing pretty well. You can buy yourself a couple of Xboxes and a nice car and a big turkey for Christmas, even if you don't eat turkey. Personally, I won't be eating turkey this year. My friends are cooking a rooster. There you go. I'm going to be eating a rooster for Christmas. I'll let you guys know what it's like. I'm not sure. I may also feel too sad about eating the rooster. I've never felt like this about chicken, but I don't know how I'm going to feel about eating a rooster. And also, it doesn't help that my friends have been sending me WhatsApps being like, oh, are you excited about eating the cock for Christmas? And so my friends are from New Zealand, so this is one of those things that they think is really funny, and I'm like, oh my goodness, if you read that on my phone, you would think it was a little bit strange that I was maybe indulging in other hobbies this year and not legitimate ones. But anyway, it's a really, really smart business model to have been able to create something that is long lasting. And what I want to just focus on are the key elements that you can actually use in your business to make this happen for you. You might not be able to go out and sing a Christmas carol. You might not necessarily have the voice of an angel, but there are elements that make Christmas carols so successful that you can actually replicate in your business and should be replicating in your business to make your life easier and ultimately to make your business more profitable, generate more revenue in an easier way. So the first part is a combination of focus and gambling. Gambling is wrong. I'm going to throw it out there. If you have a gambling addiction in any form, obviously it's not good. But taking a gamble, or light gambling, i.e. just heading off to Vegas for a weekend and hitting the roulette table, is not a bad thing. It's equally not a bad thing sometimes in business. And the majority of these songs were created off the cuff in incredibly saturated markets with a specific focus. They knew who the song was going to be for. They knew the target market. They knew the time of year, and they were creating something specific for it. And they were taking a gamble by creating a song in an incredibly saturated market and hoping that it would pay off. Now, the guy who actually wrote or co-produced, Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You, he has been in multiple interviews where he said, I wasn't actually that wowed by the song. He was like, I thought it's pretty simple, the lyrics were fine, but whatever. At no point did they expect it to be as successful as it was. They were taking a gamble. And his reasoning behind it is, or it being so successful, is that the tune is super simple and catchy. And it is. Once it's in your head, it's not going anywhere, which is purposefully why I have not sung it on this episode, because I think that would be very, very unfair. It's kind of like when people were sending me that Baby Shark thing and getting me on Instagram, and I'd have it in my head all day long. So I'm not going to Whamageddon you or All I Want for Christmas Is You. But it's a very simple, very catchy tune, which made it stand out. Okay, so they focused on creating something that would stand out in a saturated market, and they took a gamble. They took a gamble in spending the money on producing, investing the time on creating, and ultimately spending energy on marketing it and getting it out there to radio stations and things so that it would be played so as many people as possible would hear it. And they took these gambles, and it has paid off to the tune of $60 million. Now, whilst I'm not saying that you need to ultimately make a lot of gambles in your business, or anything that is, a huge risk that puts, ultimately your business at risk, or any kind of stability at risk, there are decisions that you have to make, and there are times where you have to decide to compete in a different way than you have been doing. And that means that you need to have that combination of focus and of willingness to take that risk, to take that gamble and see how it pays off. Okay. So I guess another way of talking about this is thinking about how you can be the best. That question that I asked everybody a couple of weeks ago in the planning episode, what would it take to be the best at X? And that's what we've got to think, because that's what ultimately people who are producing, creating these Christmas songs, they're not thinking about like, what can we do to be, average? What can we do to kind of get a couple of singles sold? They're like, this is the most arguably competitive time of year for our industry. What can we do to be the best? How can we stand out? How can we be innovative? What can we create that people are going to obsess over? Yeah, so that's the first thing. The second element to Christmas carols being so successful that you can use for your business is this idea of rinsing and repeating, which I love. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm a very lazy person when it comes to business, when it comes to profit. It doesn't mean I don't work hard for my clients, but it means that ultimately I want my business to make as much money as possible in the easiest ways as possible. And I love this idea and this model of rinsing and repeating. And in fact, if you listen back to the podcast, 2 years ago, I talk about the year that I sold 63 things and it almost killed me. And then I look at the last couple of years where my business has been infinitely more successful, both on a financial level and a profit margin level. And also, my clients have got phenomenal results, but I think that's pretty much, I think, the same level as all 6 years. But the reason that it's been more financially profitable and better profit margins is because we've rinsed and repeated things. We've looked at what I've produced that's gone down really well, and we've continued to make those things more efficient, more effective, get them more visible, market them more heavily. And it's the same with these Christmas carols. Mariah Carey is not bringing out a new Christmas carol every year, nor is Shane McGowan, nor is Slade or Wham or anyone else. They've got one, and it does really well. And they spend, instead of entering the market again and being like, right, okay, cool, how can I get another hit for Christmas? They're like, how can we rinse and repeat this? How can we really get this super, super visible? So every year you'll see people being interviewed, you'll see them participating in different things. They are on TV shows, and they're kind of playing the song there. They're being interviewed. Mariah Carey every single year there's a radio station or a TV station or a chat show that says, oh my goodness, All I Want for Christmas is like my favorite song ever. How do you feel about it? And I imagine that Mariah Carey's like, oh my God, I am sick to the back teeth of talking about this song, but it makes me a ton of money, so I need to smile and be really happy about it. This year, Shane McGowan has been all over the press defending Fairy Tale of New York. you know, I'm not sure how I feel about this. It's just a little side note. Maybe you can, like, I was going to invite everybody to write in and tell me what their thoughts are, and then I was like, no, that might be quite depressing. I do honestly know about the, you know, the Me Too movement and, you know, the gender pay gap and lots of things that are not helpful to many pockets of people, not just women, but many pockets of people in the world. But that song does have a special place in my heart. So, you know, he's been all over defending it. I haven't actually read any articles about it because I don't want to tarnish my feelings on a song that does make me feel incredibly festive every single year. But there's this idea of visibility. They're rinsing and repeating something that already works, and then they're making it super visible at strategic points of the year. Okay, All I Want for Christmas Is You has been playing from about November. If you are a particular Christmas fan, it's probably been playing earlier in your house, and the radio stations have been talking about when they're going to be putting it out there. Whamageddon has become a thing. You know, that song is on so often over Christmas that people have created this entire movement around when you get Whamageddoned. I think that's the verb. When you get Whamageddoned, you have to announce it publicly that you've lost this imaginary game that we are all playing. And that everyone gets very excited about it. You know, they're actively trying to avoid a Christmas song and for as long as possible. So actually, these artists are incredibly smart in that they rinse and repeat something to make it more effective every year, even though technically that thing, that product, if you want to refer to it that way, is getting older. It's no longer as relevant, as we can tell with the current controversy over lyrics and things like that of certain Christmas songs. Even though they're perhaps no longer as relevant, even though they're a little bit older, even though there are, you know, controversial elements to some of them, these songs are still doing incredibly well. They're still making money. They're still bringing royalties. Why is that? Well, it's because they're rinsing and repeating them every year. They're making them as visible as possible in a short space of time. They're getting people to play the songs, and every time the songs are playing, they're getting those royalties. Okay, so how could you do that? What could you rinse and repeat in your business? What's done really well that you actually, you know, maybe you had a launch and something went really, really well, and then you just never sold it again because you're like, oh, well, I'm going to have to find something else to sell now. I'm going to have to find something new, something more exciting. Think about what you could drag out of the vault for next year. You've already got the content created. It's so much easier. Yeah. And then the final piece is around maximizing. So many people do not do this. We have something that is successful. Perhaps we don't even think it is successful. Perhaps, you know, usually our group programs get 10 people and this one got 20, and we're thinking, well, that's not really any more successful. It is, just by the way. But we don't often maximize the results of something. In a sales world, this means, you know, perhaps we don't offer an upsell. Perhaps we don't offer a downsell to the people who didn't buy it. Perhaps there are ways that we could be maximizing that product or service that we are actively avoiding or not even thinking about. For these Christmas songs, the maximization is huge. They are in films. They are in TV adverts. They're in TV series. I've been rewatching Benidorm again recently, and every single Christmas episode, they've got a star coming in singing their Christmas song. They're on the radio. They are producing merchandise around the songs, around the lyrics. And every single time, somebody's getting paid. Somebody's getting paid for maximizing a resource that they already have. Right? So what could you be doing this year? What could you be maximizing in 2020? You know, what was successful for you last year? What could you do differently or increase in terms of visibility, engagement, and maximizing its potential? For me, I'm going really into the world of selling to corporates next year publicly. And so one of the things that I've built on is the conference, which is very exciting. we've built from just having the conference to recognizing that people also want additional support and templates and techniques. So we've created the C-suite, which is a phenomenal resource. People are already loving it and getting great results. And next year I'll be maximizing those things in other ways, whether it's repurposing, obviously not paid products, by the way. We don't repurpose paid products, especially not for free. That's not cool behavior. But whether it's down to repurposing, whether it's down to creating additional products off of those product streams, whether it's dialing down into one of those areas and creating something specific around it, whether it's doing interviews around particular topics to help us get more engagement, get more visibility, adding upsells, adding downsells. There are lots of things that you can be doing to maximize your products and services that you may or may not already be doing. So just have a little think about that. So just to recap, the 3 key elements from Christmas carols that we can all learn from and take into next year. 1, focus / take a bit of a gamble. 2, rinse and repeat. And 3, maximize. Always maximize your products and services. If you have had a good time this year and you've loved listening to the Smart Leader Sell podcast, please leave us a review. It is genuinely incredibly helpful over on iTunes. It does push us up the chart and it does make a very, very big difference just to my overall happiness, really. So if you have enjoyed this year, this episode, then please do leave us a review. I will be back on Friday with our final episode of 2019. That is a terrifying, terrifying thought. So I will see you on Friday for a final episode of 2019. It's going to be a good one. And in the meantime, I hope you have a fabulous Christmas and you enjoy whatever you are doing, whether it is eating rooster, going bouldering, spending it with family, playing board games, just plain old getting drunk and eating good food. Whatever you are doing, I hope you have the most magical festive season. And if you don't celebrate it, I hope that you are enjoying a couple of days, relaxing and getting some downtime before we head into 2020 and a fabulous new year. Have a wonderful festive season wherever you are and whatever you're doing. I genuinely wish you all of the very best.